Alrighty, folks, we're going to try something a little different today. Full disclosure, I'm stealing this idea from Sea of Tranquility, who did the Rock Candy Music Memories Challenge, if I remember that title correctly, last night on one of their panel shows called the Hudson Valley Squares. I was coming up on 200 subscribers, not quite there yet. I've kind of stalled out. Although I have gained like over 20 subscribers in the last month, so I appreciate all you guys. But I kind of stalled out, so I was thinking if I wasn't really planning on doing anything for 200 subscribers, but then I saw this, so I thought it was a good idea. So I'll try and see if I can get a little thread going, because it's always fun talking about not just music that we buy, but concerts that we go to. So they had 9 questions that they came up with. And so I was just going to go over with them, and hopefully you guys will make videos of your own. And if you don't want to make videos of your own, you can always just leave your answers to the questions in the comments. I will put the questions in the description box. So the first question was, what was the first concert you went to? And that would be Iron Maiden and Wasp in 1985, March 1985. Iron Maiden on their World Slavery Tour, and Wasp, I think they were on their Winged Assassins Tour. Amazing show. Still in top 10, if not top 5 shows I've seen all time. Then your last concert, which was just a week or so ago, it was Rhapsody of Fire, Enforcer, Witherfall, and Striker. I forgot to say that first concert was at Reunion Arena in Dallas, Texas. No longer there. This last concert, Rhapsody of Fire, Enforcer, Witherfall, and Striker, was at Granada Theater in Dallas, Texas. I went to see Enforcer mainly. I knew of Witherfall and Striker, and I actually have an album by Rhapsody of Fire. I'm drawing a blank as to what the title is, though, but it's one of their more famous ones. But it was a great show. Striker was really impressive. Enforcer was great. Rhapsody of Fire lived up to their name. Then your next question is the worst concert you ever been to. Now this one is going to be a little controversial because all the bands I'm going to list, but you know, it is what it is. Feel free to continue to like some of these bands. So the worst concert I went to was Ozfest 2001. And I have to preface this, there was like 8 bands that day, and my friend wanted to go see Black Label Society, who was the opening act at like noon. And he wanted to go see Black Label Society, so I was like, all right. I mean, I liked Black Label Society. I'm actually the one who turned him on to Black Label Society. But with all the bands that were going to be there, I was not planning on going there at noon in the August in Texas and sit outside for 12 hours. But he wanted to go, so we went. Black Label Society was good. Then your next band up was Crazy Town. They were horrible. There were so few people there that where we were sitting, which was kind of towards the back in the seating area, we could see a dude down front wearing a Black Label Society vest, and he was in the pit, but there was no pit. There was like 5 people milling around down there, and he was standing down there with his Black Label Society vest on, flipping Crazy Town off and turning around and pointing to his back that said Black Label Society. That was the most entertaining part of Crazy Town. Then next up was Disturbed. I don't really remember anything about them, which tells you how that show went. Then next was Linkin Park. Absolutely terrible. Then Papa Roach, absolutely terrible. Then Slipknot, not good either. Sorry, Slipknot fans. Maybe they've gotten better over the last 2 decades, but in 2001, they weren't very good. We just sat there and laughed that there was somebody on stage actually getting paid to hit a beer keg with a baseball bat. And then after that was Marilyn Manson, and I wasn't even a Marilyn Manson fan. I own Smells Like Children. That's still the only Marilyn Manson I own. But Marilyn Manson put on a good show. Compared to all the others, he put on a good show, an entertaining show. But then to cap it all off was Black Sabbath. And after 12 hours in the heat, putting up with all those other bands, they only played 10 songs. So yes, they were great 10 songs, but after enduring all of that, it was not a good way to cap off the show. So yeah, Ozfest 2001. The loudest concert I ever went to, I'm going to do a twofer on this one and kind of cheat. Iron Maiden in 1985 was the loudest indoor concert I've ever been to. Back in 1985, those mid-80s, every band that came through was trying to break the Guinness Book of World Records for the loudest band. And Maiden was one of them. Guinness Book of World Records has since quit doing that because every band was trying to break the record, and they thought that they were doing damage to the public's hearing at large, so they stopped having that as a category. But Maiden did not break it at the Dallas show that I saw, but they did break it on that tour. They were quickly supplanted by somebody else, but I can't remember who. But my ears rang for 7 days after that Maiden concert in '85. And then the loudest outdoor show I ever saw was the 1985 Texas Jam. It was the lineup was Victory, Grim Reaper, Bon Jovi, Ted Nugent, Night Ranger, the Scorpions, and then Deep Purple. We headed to the show early. There's like 83,000 people that showed up that day. That Texas Jam ran for almost 10 years, maybe 10 years. And that was the largest Texas Jam they ever had. 83,000 people. We're driving in it was like 5 of us. My friend's driving. And we broke down on the highway, overheated in a massive traffic jam. It was like 110 degrees that day. And we just started walking down the freeway. We were walking in the middle of the freeway, faster than the cars. And we're moving. And this couple picked us up in their little Toyota hatchback. They had a beer cooler in the back of the hatchback. And those two, and then 5 of us crammed in there, and they gave us a ride to the concert. So we missed Victory. I think we may have caught 1, 2 songs at the most by Grim Reaper. And we just kind of chilled out for Bon Jovi. Then we tried to make it down to the front for Ted Nugent. We said, let's see how close we can get to the front for Ted Nugent. And Nugent was, I got to the barricade for like 3 seconds. I touched the barricade and was quickly ripped away by the crowd. The crowd was just swaying back and forth, fighting back and forth, and a bunch of dudes down there, none of them wearing shirts. They're all covered in sweat. So, but Nugent was so loud, you couldn't even, getting that close, you couldn't even tell what song he was playing. That's how loud he was. So we retreated to the back where we stayed the rest of the day. But Purple came on, and they were so loud. Amazing show. I mean, I used to say that this was my favorite band performance ever. They were so loud, so good, but Ian Gillan actually cracked my eardrums singing Child in Time with his voice. That's how loud they were. And man, so my ears rang for 3 days after that. An outdoor venue, and my ears rang for 3 days after that one. So then my best concert, like I said, that Deep Purple, I used to put that Texas Jam as my best concert ever. And I even kept saying it after this concert, but just years of reflection, I have to go with my best concert ever was the Kiss reunion in 1996. When the original band got back together. That was my third time seeing Kiss, but it was my first time seeing the original band together. First time seeing Kiss in makeup. And man, they were just incredible. I mean, when you think that it was pretty much 20 years, they were the ones who got me into heavy metal, hard rock, whatever you want to call it, in like 1977. And here I am 20 years later, getting to see them for the first time, and they pulled out all the tricks. You know, amazing show. Played 23 songs. It was awesome. They did come back through again later on in like November in '96, and of course I went to that one. Concert, the set list changed a little bit, maybe like 2 songs. But it was basically the same show, so not quite as exhilarating as that first one, but that first July '96 show, I gotta put that as the best. Seen the most, band you've seen the most in concert, I'm gonna cheat on this one too. I've seen Mothership 19 times, but they are from Dallas. The majority of these are club shows. But they are a national band. They do national tours. They did do national tours. They don't tour so much anymore. They have 3 albums out. Great band. So I've seen them about 19 times. The arena rock band that I've seen the most would be Iron Maiden. I've seen them 9 times. 7 times in Dallas, once in Fort Worth, and once in Vegas. The 7th question is the most surprising band you've ever seen, and that would be Firehouse. And I got free tickets in 2005 to see Firehouse, Rat, Quiet Riot, and Cinderella. And I really was only going to see Cinderella, but my friend got free tickets, and he wanted to see all the bands because he didn't go to that many concerts. So what could I do? So we went, and Firehouse was killer. I mean, the whole time I'm sitting there, it's like, man, why do these guys write this poppy hair metal stuff? Because all the band members were killer musicians, and the guy had pipes. He could sing his ass off. So they were definitely the most surprising. I still don't own anything by Firehouse because, it's just not my thing. But, man, seeing them in concert, they were the real deal. They could hold their own with anybody. They were amazing. Then your 8th question is, who am I happy I got to see in concert? So the first one that came to my mind was Heaven and Hell. I saw in 2008. I had seen Ozzy twice prior. I had seen Dio prior twice, but I never got to see the Black Sabbath version with Dio. So I got to see Heaven and Hell in '08. They were with Testament, Motorhead, Judas Priest, and then Heaven and Hell were the headliners. So, and then that was the last time I got to see Dio too. So I was really happy to see that one. And then also, I'm going to say seeing Tom Petty in April of 2017. That was my first time ever seeing Tom Petty. I've always been a Tom Petty fan, but never... Well, my appreciation grew over the years, and it grew enough that, he came around and I wanted to go see him in concert, which I'm glad we did because he was dead 6 months later after we saw him. Wish I'd seen in concert. This is the last question. I knew this was going to go on for a little bit. I apologize, but you start talking about concerts and you start rambling on. And I've actually cut myself off, to be fair, to you. Wish I'd seen Pink Floyd in 1988. I actually had tickets to that show, but I was a poor college student, and tickets were $35, which is about $100 today. So I really needed the money, so I sold my ticket, and of course, friends come back and tell me how great the show was. And I have never seen Pink Floyd. They did come through years later, but the moment it passed. I was gonna make a bad joke there, but yeah, it wasn't quite the same, so I never went to go see them. Then Wish I'd seen. I put Motorhead down here. Now I said that I saw at Heaven and Hell. It was Testament, Motorhead, Judas Priest, and Heaven and Hell. My ride was running late. We missed Testament. We showed up for Ace of Spades by Motorhead, and that was the only song. So I don't consider that seeing Motorhead. In 2015, we had tickets. Somebody else, me and another person, had tickets to go see Saxon open for Motorhead in September of 2015. And of course, Lemmy had to cancel a bunch of dates on that tour. Dallas was one of them because of his health. And of course, he died 4 months later in December of 2015. So I don't consider that actually seeing Motorhead, just seeing them play one song. To Saxon's credit, they played a club show to make up that date, and they were killer. I also put down here Michael Monroe because I've been a Hanoi Rocks fan, Michael Monroe fan since '84. He never comes to DFW. Every once in a while, he goes to Austin for South by Southwest. But, you're going to drive all that way, fight those crowds just to see him play like a 30-minute set. But he was coming here with Buck Cherry to Fort Worth, to a small venue. And I was like, oh, my God. And I went and bought tickets because I was so excited about it. Finally get to see him after 40 years, and he canceled. He pulled out of the tour because he has knee surgery. So I don't think I'm ever going to get to see Michael Monroe. I doubt he's ever going to go. He never comes to DFW anyway. If he does do a U.S. tour, he plays a few dates in New York, a few dates in L.A., maybe he'll hit Vegas. That's about it. So it's a bummer. But one of my biggest wish I'd seen was 1986, Metallica and Ozzy. They played Tarrant County Convention Center in Fort Worth on the same night as my senior prom. And my girlfriend, of course, wanted to go to the senior prom. Now, we did skip school that day and go to a sound warehouse. They were having a record signing, and Metallica was there. So I did get Kill 'Em All and Master of Puppets autographed by all four guys. So I did get to meet Cliff, but I didn't get to go to the show. And then, of course, he died, 4 months later, too? So, yeah. I really wish I would have skipped that crappy senior prom and gone to see Metallica and Ozzy. People still talk about what a great tour that was. And I went to a crappy senior prom. All right, so I am going to steal this idea. I am going to call it my 200 subscribers thread, even though I'm not quite at 200 subscribers. Maybe this thread will push me over the top. like I said, if you guys want to participate, feel free to make your own video. If you don't feel like making a video, then you can just answer the questions in the comment section below. And if you don't feel like doing that, maybe you can give me a like to let me know that you saw the video. All right, you guys have a good one.